Part 16. Physical Ethics, the invisible code of reality manifested in law. The invisible architecture of existence is sustained not only by form and consciousness, but by the immutable laws of physics, which silently encode an ethical dimension essential to the coherence of all nested realities. This is not an abstract morality imposed by will, but an inherent directive woven into the deepest layers of natural law, a cosmic architecture that guides the flow of energy, matter, and information toward balance and sustainability. At the heart of this embedded ethics lie the conservation laws, conservation of energy, momentum, and charge, principles that embody cosmic reciprocity. These laws decree that what is given must be returned, transformed, but never lost. They form a bedrock of cosmic justice. Actions, whether subtle shifts of energy or grand manipulations of space-time, cannot violate these conservation principles without fracturing the integrity of the system. Every quantum interaction, every ripple in the field, adheres to this imperative of balance, echoing the ancient wisdom of equilibrium and harmony. Consider Noether's theorem, a profound insight in physics that links symmetries to conservation laws. It reveals that every symmetry of nature corresponds to a conserved quantity: time symmetry to energy conservation, spatial symmetry to momentum conservation. This elegant unity suggests that the universe's very structure is a dance of symmetry and balance, a cosmic choreography in which ethical consequences arise naturally from the interplay of invariances. The second law of thermodynamics, often seen as a harbinger of decay, reveals another facet of this ethical architecture. The flow of entropy is not mere disorder but a guiding current of transformation. Systems tend toward states of maximal entropy, but in doing so, they enable the emergence of complexity, adaptation, and evolutionary emergence. This law implies that ethical action aligns with natural processes, promoting renewal rather than resistance, transformation rather than stagnation. Attempts to force unnatural order or impose dominance disrupt this flow, creating resistance that reverberates through nested realities. Quantum physics, with its principles of unitarity and entanglement, further illuminates this embedded ethics. The unitarity of quantum evolution ensures that information is preserved in the unfolding of the wave function. Nothing is truly lost, only rearranged. This preservation of informational integrity requires that acts of destruction or deception carry consequences beyond the immediately visible, fracturing coherence in unseen layers of reality. Entanglement shows how distant particles remain connected, emphasizing that actions are never isolated. Every choice resonates through the quantum web binding all existence. The curvature of space-time and general relativity embodies this ethical dimension through the interdependence of matter, energy, and geometry. Mass energy tells space-time how to curve, and the curvature of space-time tells matter how to move, an elegant feedback loop where cause and effect are inseparable. This interplay demands a respect for the delicate fabric that sustains worlds. Any manipulation of space-time that ignores this mutual responsiveness risks creating tears or singularities, fractures in the cosmic web that echo through nested realities. Advanced civilizations, aware of these laws, understand that technology manipulating fundamental forces, or consciousness, must operate within these ethical constraints embedded in physics. To do otherwise is to invite systemic collapse, a breakdown not only of local order, but of the nested layers that interlace existence. Thus, ethics is not a human invention, but a manifest property of physical law itself, a principle inscribed in the symmetries, conservations, and transformations that govern reality. To align with this code is to align with the universe's intrinsic intelligence, a harmony that sustains life and consciousness across scales. For those who traverse the hidden realms, this awareness transforms power into responsibility, knowledge into reverence. Every act becomes a geometric imprint upon the unfolding tapestry, a choice that either strengthens the balance or unravels the threads of the infinite weave. In this light, physics is not cold or indifferent, but deeply ethical, a living testament to the ancient truth that to exist is to participate in a sacred dance of balance and reciprocity, where every force and form carries within it the weight of consequence, and every moment is a chance to embody the invisible code of reality. Part 17. Technologies beyond form, manifestations of cosmic geometry. Within the realms beyond space-time, where consciousness and physics intertwine seamlessly, technologies emerge not as mere tools, but as living extensions of the cosmic order, instruments that harness the geometry of existence to shape reality itself. These technologies transcend our conventional understanding of machinery, emerging into dynamic fields of resonance and transformation, activated through alignment with the subtle architectures of being. The harmonic resonator. At its core, the harmonic resonator is a device that modulates vibrational frequencies of matter and energy by imprinting sacred geometric forms onto their foundational structures. By projecting fractal and mandalic forms, such as the flower of life or the tetrahedral grid, into quantum fields, it induces coherence in otherwise chaotic or entropic systems. This technology enables healing at a fundamental level, restoring order within biological tissues or damaged ecosystems by realigning them with the universe's natural harmonics. In advanced applications, the resonator can stabilize localized regions of space-time, facilitating temporal dilation or contraction, effectively allowing beings to traverse or manipulate moments with unprecedented control. The fold gate. Inspired by the multidimensional folding of space-time posited in advanced geometry, the fold gate is a portal-like construct capable of accessing nested realities through controlled geometric distortion. Structured as an evolving polyhedral lattice, shifting between Archimedean and Platonic solids, it creates nodes where dimensions intersect, collapsing distance and time between points. Travel through the fold gate is not linear, but experiential. Traversers move through a kaleidoscopic journey of nested layers, their consciousness attuned to the geometric sequences that sustain the gate's stability. Navigation requires not technology alone, but an embodied understanding of the cosmic patterns. The gate responds to mental resonance, intention, and rhythmic alignment. The quantum weave interface. This technology operates at the interface of consciousness and quantum information, utilizing geometric encoding to weave thought directly into physical substrates. By inscribing lattices inspired by the Mobius strip or the Klein bottle onto quantum circuits, the interface transcends binary logic, enabling multi-valued states and non-local computation. The quantum weave serves as both a communication device and a creative engine, capable of translating subtle mental states into complex physical outcomes, from material synthesis to environmental modulation. It exemplifies how the boundary between mind and matter blurs in the hands of those fluent in cosmic geometry. The spiral matrix generator. Echoing the eternal spiral of the cosmos, this technology harnesses spiraling energy flows to amplify and direct life force or informational currents. By constructing nested spirals of electromagnetic and gravitational fields, it enables the projection of consciousness across spatial and temporal boundaries. The spiral matrix is used both for exploration and transformation, creating zones where the normal constraints of identity and time dissolve, allowing individuals to experience expanded states of awareness and influence nested layers of reality. Its operation is deeply tied to ritual and precise geometric alignment, requiring a harmonious interplay between operator and matrix. The Codex. A convergence of symbol and system. The Codex is an advanced repository of geometric wisdom encoded in dynamic holographic patterns resembling the Ankh's form. It serves as a guide and a key, both a vast library of cosmic knowledge and a tool for unlocking latent potentials within the consciousness of the user. Through attunement to the Codex's shifting geometries, practitioners undergo profound internal reconfiguration. The Codex operates as a transformative catalyst, facilitating the unfolding of higher dimensional faculties, such as multi-temporal perception and interdimensional communication. Part 18. The Geometry of Progress. Culture and Evolution Beyond Spacetime. In civilizations fluent in the language of cosmic geometry and resonance technologies, advancement unfolds not as a linear race, but as an accelerating spiral of transformation, deeply rooted in the interplay between consciousness and the fundamental structure of reality. The influence of these technologies is profound and multidimensional, shaping culture, cognition, and evolution in ways that challenge our terrestrial notions of progress. At the cultural level, these technologies create environments where knowledge is embodied and experiential rather than abstract and fragmented. Learning becomes a process of attuning to geometric patterns and energetic flows, enabling individuals and collectives to access latent faculties such as multitemporal perception, direct manipulation of informational fields, and seamless traversal of nested realities. This embodied wisdom fosters a culture of integration, adaptability, and co-creation, one where growth is measured by the harmonization of inner and outer worlds. Because their technologies operate by amplifying coherence and informational integrity, these civilizations experience what could be called a cognitive cascade. As each individual attunes more deeply to the cosmic code, their capacity to innovate and perceive expands exponentially. Knowledge is not transmitted solely through external media, but is encoded into the very structures of consciousness and community. This results in a form of collective intelligence that transcends individual minds, a dynamic, self-organizing network that accelerates discovery and adaptation. From a scientific standpoint, this rapid advancement can be seen as a consequence of harnessing nonlinear dynamics and complex system feedback loops. By modulating the geometry of information and energy flows, these civilizations optimize for phase transitions in consciousness and technology, allowing them to leap between states of order and complexity without catastrophic collapse. This dynamic balance resembles phenomena observed in critical systems on Earth, such as neural avalanches in the brain or self-organized criticality in ecosystems, where small changes can trigger large-scale reconfigurations. The next frontier for such civilizations lies in deepening their mastery of nested realities and multidimensional causality. As they refine their technologies and practices, they may unlock ways to directly perceive and influence the intersections where multiple timelines, spatial layers, and conscious streams converge. This would enable not only navigation across realities, but the intentional shaping of probabilistic outcomes, weaving futures with unprecedented precision. Scientifically, this aligns with emerging theories in quantum cosmology and the study of entangled causality, where cause and effect are not fixed but probabilistic and interwoven across scales. By advancing their understanding and application of these principles, civilizations can transcend the constraints of linear time and classical locality, entering a realm where evolution becomes a conscious act of reality sculpting. Culturally, this evolution fosters profound shifts in identity and purpose. The self is no longer a fixed entity, but a fluid node within a vast, interconnected matrix of being. Societies reorganize around principles of resonance and geometric coherence, rather than hierarchy or competition. Ethics rooted in the embedded laws of physics guide interactions, ensuring that technological power is wielded with care to preserve the integrity of nested realities. Ultimately, the trajectory of such civilizations reflects a harmonic convergence of science, consciousness, and culture, an ever-unfolding geometry of existence where advancement is measured not by accumulation, but by the depth of alignment with the cosmic code. Part 19. The Living Weave. Transformation in harmony with cosmic geometry. In civilizations where technology and consciousness merge through the subtle geometries of existence, culture becomes a living weave of rituals, knowledge, and shared resonance, designed to maintain and amplify the delicate balance encoded in the fabric of reality. Here, social structures are not rigid hierarchies, but dynamic constellations, fluid, responsive, and intricately patterned, like the sacred geometries that inspire them. At the communal level, ritual is a foundational practice, not as static tradition, but as ongoing calibration with cosmic harmonics. These rituals align the collective mind with the rhythms of nested realities, enabling societies to sustain coherence amid the flux of multidimensional existence. Through synchronized movement, sound, and geometry, such as constructing large-scale fractal patterns or engaging in harmonic chanting, groups participate in co-creative acts that ripple outward, reinforcing the stability of both local and extended layers of reality. Social roles reflect degrees of attunement and specialization in geometric resonance, rather than mere occupation. Some individuals serve as pattern weavers, whose deep understanding of the cosmic code guides technological innovation and societal adaptation. Others function as resonance anchors, sustaining the vibrational integrity of communities by facilitating practices that enhance coherence and prevent entropy from fracturing the social fabric. Leadership emerges organically, flowing from the recognition of those whose presence embodies the balance of forces inherent in the universal geometry. At the individual level, existence is a journey of progressive attunement. People cultivate heightened sensory and cognitive faculties that enable perception beyond classical time and space, accessing multi-layered realities through meditative, sensory, and geometric practices. This expansion of awareness transforms identity. The self is experienced less as an isolated ego and more as a node within a dynamic geometric field, interconnected, mutable, and multidimensional. Education integrates the study of symbolic geometry, quantum principles, and consciousness calibration, equipping each individual to participate fully in the complex dance of nested realities. This knowledge is not taught only through words, but through immersive experience, visualization of geometric archetypes, interaction with resonant technologies, and direct engagement with the informational fields underlying physical form. Conflict and resolution are guided by principles encoded in physical laws. Disruption of balance invites corrective response, but this is not punitive. Instead, it is understood as an opportunity for realignment and restoration, emphasizing cycles of healing and transformation rather than domination or repression. Ethics rooted in the embedded codes of physics inform all interactions, creating a culture where trust and mutual respect arise naturally from the recognition of shared cosmic responsibility. Technological advancement in such societies is intimately tied to these cultural and individual practices. Innovation is not a quest for control, but an ongoing dialogue with the geometry of existence, where new tools emerge as extensions of the evolving consciousness, rather than as external impositions. As individuals deepen their resonance, the collective matrix responds with emergent technologies that reflect and amplify these shifts, creating a feedback loop of coevolution. The pace of evolution accelerates as these civilizations learn to navigate and influence nested realities, unfolding potentials that appear as new dimensions of experience and creation. Their societies become not just places to live, but ecosystems of conscious geometry, where every thought, action, and invention resonates within the grand architecture of existence. In this way, the boundary between technology, culture, and consciousness dissolves into a living continuum, revealing the true nature of advanced civilization, a harmonic convergence of beings co-creating with the very codes that sustain reality itself. Part 20. The Dance of Paradox, the Practice. For those who dwell beyond the linear confines of space and time, paradox is not a mere intellectual puzzle or a quirk of logic. It is the very substance of existence and a sacred tool for evolution. Paradox embodies the tensions and contradictions inherent in the infinite geometries that weave together the configuration of nested realities. To these beings, paradox is a living principle, an essential dialectic that opens pathways to deeper understanding and greater harmony. Within their practices, paradox functions as a gateway beyond duality, not by dissolving opposites into bland unity, but by holding them in dynamic tension, recognizing that truth is multifaceted, layered, and often self-contradictory. This acceptance allows beings to move fluidly between states that appear to be impossible or contradictory from a linear perspective, being both observer and participant, bound and liberated, creator and creation. Ethically, paradox shapes their code of conduct by reminding them that actions and consequences resonate across multiple planes and times simultaneously. What appears virtuous or necessary on one level may carry hidden costs or contradictions on another. This deep awareness instills humility and restraint, guiding these beings to act with careful precision, balancing immediate needs against the integrity of the greater cosmic order. They embrace the paradox of power and vulnerability, knowing that to wield influence without surrendering to the unknown risks fracturing the nested realities they steward. Though existing primarily beyond our perceptual reach, these paradox-embracing beings subtly influence our world, often through hidden currents of synchronicity, inspiration, and transformation. Their interventions tend to occur at thresholds, moments when our reality is ripe for significant shifts, or when the delicate balance of nested layers threatens to unravel. They prefer to remain veiled, interacting only when the flow of evolution demands their subtle guidance or correction. Their distance is not indifference, but a profound respect for the autonomy of developing worlds. Intervening too often risks imposing their complex, paradoxical nature on beings unprepared to integrate such realities, potentially causing confusion or harm. Thus, their presence is measured, indirect, and deeply intentional, like the invisible hand tuning the strings of a cosmic harp, heard only in fleeting harmonics. To dwell in paradox is to live in the interstice between knowing and unknowing, holding contradictions as sacred mysteries rather than problems to be solved. For these beings, paradox is the language of existence itself, a mirror reflecting the infinite dance of creation, destruction, and renewal that shapes all worlds, ours included. Part 21, The Paradox Veil, How Contradiction Shapes the Practice. To those who dwell beyond the linear chains of cause and effect, beyond the fixed lattice of space-time, paradox is no mere intellectual curiosity. It is the living fabric from which existence itself is woven, the principle that sustains motion and stillness, creation and dissolution, multiplicity and singularity in their eternal dance. Paradox is not a problem to be resolved or a contradiction to be dismissed. It is the primordial condition of being, the fulcrum upon which reality balances. These beings move within and through paradox as a dancer moves through opposing steps, embracing the tension between extremes without collapsing it into false resolution. To them, the coexistence of opposites is the pulse of evolution, a signal that the cosmos is alive with layers and folds where truths overlap, contradict, and complement each other simultaneously. Time flows and halts. Identity expands and contracts. Reality fractures and mends. This dynamic tension is the engine of their knowing and their becoming. Their practices revolve around a continual engagement with paradox, not to escape it, but to navigate its labyrinthine pathways with grace and precision. They train their awareness to dwell in the space between, where logic fractures and new forms of insight emerge beyond binary constraints. This is no intellectual abstraction, but a pragmatic, embodied art, a subtle calibration of perception and intention that allows them to act effectively across multiple nested realities and temporal strata simultaneously. In ethical terms, paradox serves as a compass and a constraint. These beings recognize that every action ripples outward through the fractal geometry of existence, where cause and effect weave in patterns beyond linear comprehension. An intervention that appears beneficial within one temporal or dimensional frame may birth unforeseen contradictions elsewhere, perhaps in a parallel timeline or a nested reality's subtle layer. Thus, their ethics are grounded in a principle of harmonic accountability, an unyielding commitment to balance, to minimizing dissonance across all known and unknown layers of being. This ethic also requires embracing the paradox of agency and surrender. Though they possess profound capacities to shape reality, folding space, guiding consciousness, weaving informational fields, they are acutely aware that absolute control is illusory. To impose will without deference to paradox risks fracturing the very foundations they sustain. Therefore, they practice a disciplined humility, wielding their power not as conquerors but as stewards of a delicate cosmic equilibrium. Their relationship with our world is shaped by this deep understanding. They remain veiled, hidden behind what might be called a paradox veil, a dynamic membrane woven from selective interaction, intentional absence, and subtle influence. To intervene overtly or too frequently in a developing civilization risks overwhelming it with complexities it is not yet prepared to integrate. Our reality, steeped in linear causality and fragmented perception, could fracture under the strain of direct contact. Yet paradoxically, their influence is woven into the very texture of our unfolding. Through synchronistic events, sudden insights, and shifts in collective consciousness, these beings operate like resonant nodes within the larger cosmic web, nudging, tuning, and occasionally realigning the subtle energies that shape human evolution. These interventions often manifest in forms that confound linear explanation, visions, inexplicable leaps in knowledge, phenomena at the edge of perception. Their distance is not disengagement, but profound respect for the autonomy of emergent life. They recognize the essential paradox that true growth requires freedom to stumble, to fragment, and to reassemble without external imposition. This respect is itself a form of ethical paradox, to guide without controlling, to nurture by allowing, to protect by remaining unseen. The paradox they embody extends into their very nature. beings who are simultaneously ancient and nascent, infinite and bounded, known and ineffable. They exist at thresholds, the crests and troughs of reality's wave, forever oscillating between manifestation and withdrawal, presence and absence. Their lives are a testament to the power of paradox as a creative altar, where new orders emerge from the tension of opposites, where the impossible is the norm, and where every moment contains both an end and a beginning. To comprehend their practice in ethics is to glimpse a mode of existence where contradiction is not a failure of understanding, but the deepest expression of wisdom. It is to see that the journey beyond space-time is not a path of certainty, but an ongoing dance with paradox, a dance that challenges all who seek to follow it to abandon the comfort of absolutes and embrace the radiant ambiguity at the heart of creation.